Good morning. It's Wednesday, July 9th, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 23, and my name is Chris. Big show for you today. Big day in the news today, too. So let's start with the story we're not really going to jump into because I just want you to know I am tracking it today. Glenn Greenwald posted his big finale, supposedly, to his NSA revelations from his leaks provided by Edward Snowden, and he exposed the Muslim American citizens who are under surveillance. So they're U.S. citizens that have been monitored by the NSA, whole take, all their stuff. Huge, long write-up, so I'm doing a deep dive in that after today's episode of Tech Talk Today, and we'll give you a full analysis on tonight's Unfilter, which will cover a lot of the recent NSA revelations. There's been a whole new round, including some stuff going on with Germany and some stuff from the Washington Post that was really big. So we'll be talking about that tonight on Unfilter. Today, we're going to focus more on the technology side of things, and so to help me out, I have once again assembled a team of established in-the-community members. That's what I'm going to say. I'm calling you guys that today. I'm trying something new every day from our Mumble Room. Good morning, guys. Let's start with this first story that's really most applicable to the U.S. We'll get it out of the way, and then we'll move on, and it's a big one. A Senate panel has passed a new cybersecurity bill, much like CISPA, in a 12-3 vote. Now, this is a big deal, so I want to play a news clip for you so you can get all the details in one take. This is, if you're familiar with the Cyber Information Security and Protection Act, CISPA, before we had a lot of concerns with it. This is sort of a revitalization of that.
We begin tonight with the very latest on Capitol Hill. The Senate Intelligence Committee has approved a cybersecurity bill that would encourage companies to share information, user information, about threats with each other and the federal government. The bill, which was written by Senate Intelligence Chair Dianne Feinstein and Senator Saxby Chambliss, has been dubbed CISA, or the Cybersecurity Information Protection Act. Keep in mind, CISA is a lot like CISPA, a controversial cybersecurity bill from last year. CISA would strengthen and legitimize the NSA's surveillance programs, allowing sweeping data mining of internet users in the U.S. and force companies to hand over private data without a search warrant. Already, the bill has been heavily scrutinized by privacy advocacy groups who say the legislation lays out broad definitions that could be open to abuse. For one, they say it lacks Department of Homeland Security oversight, and they argue it doesn't include a mechanism that ensures user data won't be shared with agencies like the NSA, who could use it for non-cybersecurity purposes. Of course, that concern is heightened now, just a year after the release of thousands of NSA documents outlining the full extent of U.S. surveillance programs. Today's bill passed in a 12-3 vote, and a full vote is expected later this year.
Yeah, later this year. So we'll be tracking this as it works its way through the system. So the groups that have been calling out privacy concerns, they're working together. The American Civil Liberties Union, the Center for Democracy and Technology, the Electronic Frontier Foundation, and another dozen groups are all working. They sent a joint letter to the senators last month. Okay, so this cleared last night. They sent a letter to them last month, so obviously they don't give a crap. What's also very, very, very frustrating about this is Senator Ron Wyden submitted amendments to it to resolve the outstanding privacy issues, to clarify, not to restrict what they could do, but just to clarify where things stood, make things explicit, and maybe enhance protections a bit. And, of course, that didn't make it. Somehow, that didn't make it in. So not awesome at all, and we'll be keeping an eye on this. Now, last time, intensity around CISPA built up where the White House actually stepped in and said, all right, well, if it makes it this far, we're going to veto it. Once the president did that, it essentially petered out. I don't know, Mumble Room, does anybody have a take on this before I move on to the next topic? This is just something at this stage to kind of watch, I figure, but if you guys had anything you wanted to share on the topic, feel free to chime in.
So what actual oversight is there for this bill? Doesn't seem like there's any.
That's one of the huge concerns, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's very loose. It's very loose. And the data that's collected in the name of cybersecurity, which is really concerning, is so there's an indemnification aspect to it. So if your provider, let's say it's Google, or whoever, your ISP might be actually more realistic. Let's say it's Comcast or Time Warner or Frontier or whoever. If they in response to a cybersecurity request from the government, which is sort of a loose definition when you think of it on the face of it, if they hand over a ton of information and some of it's yours, they are immediately legally indemnified from that action. This is similar to something that happened under President Bush for the telcos. When they initially began doing the wiretapping, they retroactively indemnified the telcos for that activity. Now they're going to do it for the technology industry. Now, here's the catch, though. This is the loophole. And this is one of the loopholes that Ron Wyden tried to close. When they hand over that data, if there happens to be other information in there that is legally incriminating, they can hand that off to the NSA. They can send that to other places. The company they handed it over is indemnified. And you can look this up. There is a pattern now, especially when it comes to drug-related crimes, where the NSA is doing some tipping to a law enforcement. They do what's called backfilling, and they go out and they make an arrest. This is happening now. You guys can go look it up. And it's very alarming, because what it essentially does is it makes that sharing in the name of national security. So that's something that's really hard for lawmakers to argue against, because they don't want to seem soft on that aspect. And if you're a company and you're not complying, you don't want to seem soft and you don't want to seem unpatriotic. So there's a lot of different factors at play that are motivating all sides. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it work its way through the system pretty successfully, at least for a while, unless there is a lot of pushback immediately. But this seems to be truly a war of attrition. I mean, it started with SOPA. It even started in weaker incarnations pre-SOPA. Then we had SOPA, and then we've got CISPA, and now we've got CIS, whatever they're calling this when they took out one of the acronyms. So let's talk about something that's not such a downer. Let's just talk about something that's just fun and interesting, and maybe a little indication of some major things coming down the pipe. So we have an exclusive over here from Sam. It's a Samsung virtual reality headset. This is from sammobile.com. And they're following up on a story that Engadget reported on about a month ago, where they said that Samsung's upcoming VR device, which is being developed in collaboration with Oculus VR. So this site, Sam Mobile now, is confirming Engadget's original report, saying yes, Samsung is indeed working on a virtual reality device. It's called the Gear VR, and Samsung will be announcing the device alongside a Galaxy Note 4 at IFA 2014. Now, here's what's interesting, is they're not going full like Oculus on this thing. In fact, it's Samsung, right? So they're going to try to leverage some of their other existing technology and products, because it's not necessarily a product on its own. It's almost more of an accessory. Instead of making a completely standalone virtual reality headset, Samsung has developed a modular design which allows the user to dock a Galaxy device into the Gear VR using USB 3.0. The virtual reality effect is achieved through a head tracking, and instead of equipping the headset with sensors, Gear VR makes use of the smartphone's accelerometer, gyroscope, and processing power to track head motion, even the cameras as well, including the rear-facing camera and the forward-facing camera. We have a picture in the show notes if you guys click the link to check it out. It looks interesting, light. Maybe it would be fun with some games. Mumble Room, let me ask you this. If this was like, because remember, the phone is doing the bulk of the processing. So this is really just a headset gear, not too unsimilar to what we saw Google show with the box at Google I.O. a couple of weeks ago. If this was, say, $99, and you could put a Galaxy Note in this thing and get a VR headset, would you spend $99 for this thing? Would you do it?
No.
Oh, how come?
It just seems pointless, at least to me. I don't know about the application for it. I mean, yes, you can play some games, but doesn't appeal to me, at least not now.
Oh, all right. I feel like it could be one of those things that once you try it, it's kind of life-changing almost, if it's done well enough.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna have to try it first, because I'm one of these people that has bad eyesight, so the 3D effect in most things, like I can't go to the cinema to see 3D. So if this relies on that technology like that does, then it won't work for me. So I'd have to try it first.
I'll tell you what it's got me thinking, though. It's got me thinking that box that Google gave out, the VR box, was a little hint that there's a lot of people working on this. And so Google, I think, was hinting that this is a thing that's coming. Samsung is working with Oculus, yet what they've made is surprisingly similar to the Google Cardboard box. So is it possible that we have Facebook and Google and Oculus working together via Google's hardware partners and like some sort of weird quadruplet relationship? Like, or I guess what I'm trying to get at here is I think there's something much larger in the works around VR and around specifically maybe some sort of accidental standardization here that could just all of a sudden be coming together at some point, and we might see products that are just almost fully developed. Because if you look at the pictures we're seeing in this leak that the Samsung mobile site has, this almost looks like a done product. It's got, styling, it looks comfortable, there's padding on there. And if they're building this in conjunction with Oculus VR, it could mean that stuff developed for Oculus VR could also work with this. And if this is so similar to what Google demoed at Google I/O, that all can't be a coincidence. That's all I'm saying. Something's in the works. Something big with VR is in the works. So it's good to be skeptical, but let's not squash it. Let's give it a go and see how it works. Because, sometimes it's better to take the lighthearted, optimistic approach to life. And, maybe make some potato salad. You guys want some potato salad? Because I can tell you what, if you're willing to go back the Potato Salad Kickstarter, which is crazy, you could get some potato salad. This is started by. Go ahead.
I was going to say, isn't that more expensive per ounce than gold?
So Zach Danger Brown has raised, as of this recording, $69,927 to make potato salad. He has 4,874 backers. You can read his project description. It starts with, I'm making potato salad. Basically, I'm just making potato salad. I haven't decided what kind yet. $70,000. Now, this is kind of insane, and what's even more insane now is you might expect he's starting to get quite a bit of attention. Surprise, surprise. He was on Good Morning America this morning. I managed to find kind of a crappy clip of it. It's a little obnoxious, but you guys have just got to see this because this is nuts.
Classic American side dish that has totally gotten out of control. Zach Danger Brown started a hey, I love the name. Danger Brown. He's talking about cooking potato salad. I don't know. But he started a Kickstarter campaign to raise $10 to make potato salad, crowdsourcing his build to the internet. Well, his request for backing has gone global, and he's joining us live right now. Good morning, Zach.
Yeah, here he comes. Come on out, Zach. Look what a goofy guy this is.
Danger. You didn't recognize it until I called you Danger.
Danger.
Well, you started this Kickstarter campaign. You wanted $10 to make potato salad.
Right.
Now you're up to $35,000.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by the outreach?
Not at all. No, of course not. Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. I could have never imagined that. I think I thought at day one we had $200, and I thought that was way too much money. I was overwhelmed at the idea of making $200 worth of potato salad. So $35,000. It's
probably going to double
words.
by the end of this segment. So get ready. It's gone all around the world. We have a list of all the countries that have contributed.
You guys can find the rest of that online. It's just they're having fun with it. It goes for about another minute. The guy's never made potato salad before in his life, and now he's just raised $70,000. Mumble Room, has Kickstarter gone crazy?
You have to ask.
What is this? Why is this a thing? Why is this happening? I don't understand what's going on here. Am I just too old? I don't I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm just a bit dense. Anyways, if you want to back it for some reason, you can. I'll have a link in the show notes if you're crazy like that. Good for him. He says he's going to donate a lot of it to the money to a food bank. But yeah, and as VR Mac points out, 5% of that is going to Amazon. Hey, just a little myth busting before we go. This one is this is a hot topic, so tread lightly. And if you hear reports of Manjaro's death, Manjaro Linux, it might be exaggerated a bit. There was some reporting that there was a mass exodus of the development team. There's a lot going on. Apparently there is some drama happening, but it's perhaps not as bad as it was originally reported, and you can go find a link in the show notes if you want some more. I just wanted to pass the word out there because it's like spreading around, and there's people that are creating bogus accounts to comment on threads to stir up crap and things like that. So FYI, if you follow that kind of thing, get fully read up on it before you get too worked up. A bit of follow up before we go. Skullplate wrote in regarding Waze yesterday. I mentioned that Waze has announced that they'll now be providing data, real-time data, to the local states, transportation departments in the state of Florida, and they're also doing it in Rio and a few other places. I guess it's something they're expanding upon, where they give a local government a real-time feed of traffic information of Waze users. They say they anonymize it, and then in exchange, instead of getting money, Waze is getting their own data feedback from the state. Now, this has made some people uncomfortable because Waze essentially has, information on your entire drive all the time if you're a heavy user, and your speed, things like that. So Skullplate writes, and he says, Waze claiming they anonymize user data is probably, arguably, laughable. If you use the app much coming from or returning home, it shouldn't be hard to narrow down your home location. That's a good point. Knowing they are viewing my travel data as a commodity definitely will affect my usage. Perhaps only run it from outside a certain range of my home, etc. Without more details, too, about the process, like we mentioned in a recent TechSnap episode about de-anonymizing taxi data, he points out that we covered a story in TechSnap where there was some New York cab data. They said, "Oh yeah, we took out everybody's identifiable information. Have that at big data fans, and see what you can come up with." Well, guess what? People started figuring out who people were. They thought they had anonymized the data. They didn't do it properly. It's harder than you might think it is, as we mentioned in TechSnap. So great point, Skullplate. And when I first started using Waze, that thought crossed my mind because I know they use Waze as an advertising platform too. So I actually would turn it off before I got to my street. I stopped doing that, though, once I started getting more comfortable with it. So maybe I should have followed up on that. Hey, one last thing before I go. I know it's not potato salad, but you could help support the network by going over to patreon.com/today. And it's my pledge to you. We will do more with your donation, with your pledge, than make potato salad. We might make potato salad, but we will definitely do more than make potato salad. So go over to patreon.com/today. Help fund the Jupiter Broadcasting Network. We want to do some expanding, and to do that, we need some predictability, some budgetability. We want to go on location. Again, we need budgetability to go on location. We want to buy some backup gear, things like that. All stuff that is ongoing costs running a network that's growing. And you can help us do it by making a monthly pledge over at patreon.com/today. We have different pledge levels. We have them listed at the bottom of the page, including some limited swag slots. So thank you, everybody who goes over to patreon.com/today. And thank you to our 229 patrons. There's a chance you could become 230. We're getting so close. Rika and I have been beginning our early discussions on if we get to our next milestone, how we're going to celebrate, but we're a little concerned we won't make it there within the summer. If you want to help us, give us that boost to make it to our next milestone while we're still in the nice weather, we would appreciate it. It would be amazing. And we also have some big events coming up soon that we could really use that funding. So patreon.com/today. And thanks, everybody who supports the network. Okay, Mumble Room, any last thoughts before we get out of here? Because I'm just about done. That was the headlines for the day today that caught my attention. Negatory? All right, well, then I'm going to leave you guys. I'm a little sleepy today. I'm going to leave you guys with something to wake you up. If you're like me, maybe you didn't get a great night's sleep and you want a little coffee, well, consider a nice fresh cup of Folgers.
Harvey, want anything special for your birthday?
Just a decent cup of coffee.
You're kidding.
I'm serious. Honey, your coffee's undrinkable.
It's pretty harsh.
Well, so's your coffee. You know, the girls down at the office make better coffee on their hot plates. Well, see you later.
And he didn't even kiss me goodbye. You know, if I could just make a decent cup of coffee, I could relax. So, relax. Why don't you try Instant Folgers? Tastes good as fresh perked. Good as fresh perked. I'll surprise Harvey for his birthday tonight.
Hey, great coffee.
It's Instant Folgers. Doesn't it taste good as fresh perked?
Better.
Better than those girls make at the office?
Honey, their coffee can't hold a candle to yours.
Instant Folgers taste good as fresh perked. Try it.